Mark Cuban is one of the wealthiest and most well-known individuals in the world. This multi-billionaire businessman is a vocal supporter of his own basketball team, the Dallas Mavericks. And because he watches sporting events with fans in the stands and donates fines to charities, he is referred to as the blue-collar billionaire. It's no secret that Mark Cuban is multi-talented and one of the richest persons in the world. But how did he become wealthy? Few people can claim to own an NBA franchise, serving as a judge on one of America's most popular TV programs and overseeing a number of profitable businesses at the same time. However, this is Mark Cuban's reality. Unsurprisingly, it also pays fairly well. Mark Cuban amassed a fortune after creating an empire in the spotlight. He also used cable TV to reach every American. He used to work behind the bar and go to Dallas in a Fiat X19 with a hole in the floor, but it wasn't always that way. The businessman and television personality gained notoriety on Shark Tank and has made investments in a number of businesses that have generated big returns. By putting in a lot of effort, embracing risks and overcoming challenges rather than relying on a small financial investment in the late 1990s, Cuban was able to make over $1 billion. He was able to purchase the Dallas Mavericks in 2000 because of his daring and vision, and that purchase may have been his best financial decision to date. The NBA has recognised him and given him various honours for his contributions to the game. After partying it up around the world and selling his company, Micro Solutions, for $6 million in 1990, he invested his newly discovered money in a modest startup concept named AudioNet. By 1998, the business had changed its name to Broadcast.com, and after all the underwriting and preparations were complete, it went public with an IPO, which saw a 250% increase in stock prices on the opening day of trading. It was at that time that the value of Mark Cuban and Todd Wagner's partnership suddenly skyrocketed. After the initial public sale, it was rumoured that Cuban was worth $300 million, but that was just the start. After less than 9 months and a great deal of additional effort, Broadcast.com was purchased by Yahoo for $5.7 billion in equity. Well, all was said and done and the transaction was completed. Cuban's value in Yahoo stock alone was over $1 billion. Later that year, according to Benzinga, Cuban sold most of the Yahoo shares he had purchased as part of the deal, making him a billionaire at 41. Later in life, Cuban made some of the greatest bets in human history. Even though Cuban once asserted that he doesn't trade stocks as frequently as he once did, that changed. He bought shares of Netflix when they were as low as $50 per share. The share price later on skyrocketed to a high of $700.99 per share in 2021, and it's currently trading at roughly $173. Knowing Cuban, it is likely that he sold a large portion of his stock more towards the peak than the bottom. Additionally, Cuban invested in Amazon when the share price was about $500. And in 2021, AMZN stock reached a new record height of $3,773.08. It is currently trading at $2,175. Due to the stock's stability for a long-term hold, maybe Cuban sold some of the peaks and likely also purchased the March 2022 fall. And despite the recent stock devaluation and the US dollar, he probably still has a multi-million-dollar stake in the company. And that's not all. In 2011, he appeared on the second season of the widely successful program Shark Tank. The program follows various entrepreneurs and investors as they pitch their goods and services to a panel of company owners. Cuban has appeared in more than 100 episodes, during which time he has closed more than 85 deals and invested more than $19.85 million in dot-com startups and useful ideas. The panel's experience has been sustainably enhanced by Mark Cuban's presence, which has undoubtedly increased both the show's appeal and performance. Although some of his transactions on Shark Tank don't always go through, Cuban has gained notoriety for funding a number of really successful firms. Among his lucrative television assets is his $2 million investment for a 20% interest in 1031 Productions. By the time Cuban invested in the business in 2013, its annual revenue had surpassed $2 million. He loved this investment more because it was something entertaining and visible. Moreover, Mark Cuban has invested $1.75 million for a 25% interest in Rugged Maniac Obstacle Race. There is also Hycon, who received $1.25 million from Cuban, a device that firemen can use to attach fire hoses to hydrants, stating that doing so will save them 30 seconds. The list goes on. According to Bleacher Report, when Cuban purchased the Dallas Mavericks, the team only won roughly 40% of the games they played. Now the number of games they win each season has increased since Cuban became the team's owner and manager. The Dallas Mavericks is perhaps arguably the businessman's most well-known asset. In 2000, he paid just $285 million for a 75% ownership position in the NBA team. Since buying the franchise, the Mavericks have done far better than they did in prior seasons, presumably partly because Cuban chose to watch the games in the stands with the people rather than in the luxury boxes where most team owners sit. But obviously, he has had his fair share of challenges while running the business. Minor owner Ross Petrel Jr. has threatened to sue him on the grounds that Cuban was mismanaging the team. Ironically, the club went on to win the NBA championship in the same year, 2011, after the case was dismissed by the courts. Since then, their conflicts have been resolved, and Mark Cuban has gained credibility for his leadership of the team. Let's say Cuban is widely renowned for speaking his mind on NBA courts, but for that reason, he has received numerous fines from the NBA as a result of his occasionally irrational rants on the referees' rulings. But it's all part of the show. He has received a total fine of $3.1 million for a variety of offences. But the good thing is, as a result of these transgressions, Cuban frequently makes headlines in the media and online, igniting controversy and enhancing the sport's entertainment value. However, Cuban also donates the equivalent amount to charity for every NBA fine he receives. Do the maths. That accounts to $3.1 million donated to charity. On the other side, he is a fan of politics. Cuban politics are something that is starting to sound more and more normal. He supported Obama in 2008, and after Trump insulted Obama, he offered the 45th president $1 million if he shaved his head. Of course, it was back in 2012 before Trump was elected president. Cuban has now been one of Trump's harshest critics. But why is Cuban so prosperous? Well, Cuban is adept at identifying trends and adapting to the times. The Dallas Mavericks became the first NBA team to accept Bitcoin as payment for season tickets, while other teams were still perplexed. He possesses the ability to predict the future, which is a key quality shared by the world's top business minds. Cuban has a good eye for bright creatives and can predict where growing markets are headed. Even as a little child, Michael Dell, the creator of Dell Computers, was recognised by Cuban. Another crucial quality we've observed in Mark Cuban is one that the world's most prosperous people share, is that instead of wanting to be somewhere, he wants to discover what is actually there. What is the real story behind the person, project or risk? Moreover, Mark Cuban appears to view life and business from a long-term perspective. This is evident even on Shark Tank, as he looks to invest in businesses that, in his opinion, would not only be profitable in the short term. He looks for businesses that possess the qualities and abilities to stand apart from competitors by offering clients useful products that meet their wants. Things that function now and most likely will far into the future. Cuban's fiery nature is what made him the renowned venture capitalist that he is today, despite the fact that some may believe him to be overly loud and passionate in his management of the Mavericks. Mark Cuban's net worth is projected to be $4.7 billion as of 2022. But this guy deserves every penny he owns. And surprisingly, he continues to pursue his goals even when he is not struggling financially. He views himself as an entrepreneur athlete who prepares and competes. Anyway, what do you think about Mark Cuban's investment strategy? That's all for this video. See you in the next one.